Good afternoon. How's everybody doing? New day, a new day. Hopefully everything's okay. Let's see how the comments are checking out. We are not going to see. Oh man, not going to zero, man. Interesting times. Interesting times. Yeah, if we don't go to zero, I will be astonished. No, I'm just joking. I think the likeliness of that is it's unlikely. You know, it's unlikely, but we'll see how this plays out. We're gonna talk some markets because all I keep hearing is where, and double tops. That's all I keep hearing. Uh, we don't need to be doing all that. All right, all that is not necessary when it comes to basically markets in general. We just need to relax, understand our trading style, understand our investing style, and kind of lean into that. I think if we do that more often than we sit here and pout all the time because price dropped 20% in crypto, you'll be better off. Let's see here. Top is in on my inverted chart. There you go. There you go. Yeah, it's something different, man. It's always something different. To me, this is like kind of rounding, right? Pulling back a little bit, and it's gonna like loop up. The trap is being set, right? The trap is being set, but the trap is going much higher before it traps everybody. I think people should look at it from that perspective versus sitting here and talking about how things are over and the double top thesis. This is more of what you would consider a potential double top, right? Something that kind of plays into the same range. And we talked about the whole double top theory. A lot of people keep on talking about it as if there's some kind of double top expert. You know how often double tops occur? Go back through any chart and show me all the double tops. I would love to see all your double tops that happen all the time because people keep on saying, "Oh, we're going to repeat the same cycle and do it again, double top over here." Right? First it was double top here, right? Double top here. Then it was double top over here. Now it's double top here. When does the madness end? When does it end? That's what we have to ask ourselves. Um, to be realistic, I mean, the only thing that throws me off slightly, but doesn't really throw me off per se, is kind of the downtrend, right? Downtrend in volume, uptrend in price, but ultimately that is something that could normally happen, right? We can always see downtrend in volume, uptrend in price. It's theoretically plausible. It's nothing out of the norm. I would say this, right? Every time you get this drawdown before you get breakout, right? Drawdown, again, just similar thing, drawdown, breakout, right? Drawdown, breakout. So we're still ideally what you would consider in the drawdown phase, right? Even though price has shifted up. And the reality is, it's likely we're going to get big breakout. Now, I think that people are going to be anticipating some massive candle that's going to send us to like half a mil, something like that. No, I think that's a little too far, just a little bit, right? A little too far. But I think if we're looking at it from a more realistic standpoint, we can see a God candle pushing us back up to the upper ranges for Bitcoin on volume, not price, and still see price only reach relative levels of 174 to maybe like 150. All we're looking for ultimately here is for price to meet its home, right? And where's price's home? Price's home is right along this volume line, right? Peak one, volume high, right? Granted, price went higher over here, yeah, but ultimately, you know where you're starting to top out with volume. When volume spikes real high, you'll see a top out if you're in an uptrend, right? So uptrend, spike in volume means likely bear market's coming soon. Again, uptrend, right? Spike in volume. Now, granted, keep in mind too, the spike in volume happens relatively in the same range every single time. Not down here, it happens up here. And not only does it happen up here, and this is every cycle, by the way, too. This is an anomaly. It's every cycle. Starts up here, right? Here, here. And what happens when you get to a high? You get a green candle high, not a red candle high. Green candle high, not a red candle high. Near the highs, right? When you're getting near the top of the market, volume typically spikes really hard around that top. Now, what we're seeing over here, and you're probably like, what about that red candle there, Will? Why is that red candle at that position? I think it's very apparent, right? What did the red candle signify? One of the biggest buybacks / sell-offs in history, right, for Bitcoin. So you were able to push volume candles at the low all the way back up to nearly in the ranges of what the green candles typically are. Because you can see previous bear markets tended to play much lower, right? Much lower. But we were almost able to touch, the finger of volume in this last drawdown here. And now we're pressing up to the highs, no vol spikes, and people continue to discuss double top thesis. It's absolutely crazy. Oh yeah, more bots. Let's go and delete you, block you. Thank you. Yeah, that's basically where Bitcoin is. I mean, it's not a whole lot to discuss here. I think people again are just not understanding what's actually occurring, and they're speaking out, one side of their mouth without really knowing what's going on. And there's a lot more going on right now than what a lot of people are understanding. So you got your vol spikes, you got your basic market highs, and then same thing over here, right? If you look at it again, just market high, right? Vol spike, market high, vol spike, market high, vol spike, market high, vol spike, and this is as we've been slowly but surely moving up. We have no vol spike yet. No real vol spikes on Bitcoin. So ultimately, we got to see that before we could say, okay, market's likely cooked. Still kind of playing in the same range. With that being said, Bitcoin has plenty of room, in my opinion. Granted, you have RSI bear div playing out, right? But bears are playing off that discussion. So they're saying, oh, well, there's a bear div here, but you haven't got everything else kind of lining up with that thesis. You're just basically playing relatively in a range. And if I were to argue the point, let me just do that real quick. Let me argue the point. You call this a bear div, I call it a bull flag. Right? Let's be honest with each other here. Bear div, bull flag. Okay, you're calling it a bear div, I'm calling it a bull flag. We'll see which one wins on this one, because ultimately, downward price action, controlled price range, works the same way on strength. Strength shifts away, and strength goes up. Strength doesn't go down from a bull div. It goes up. So you got a bull div kind of playing out here on the RSI, but you continue to only look at the thesis of a lower high structure, but you're also not looking at the structured lows, right? We have to look at structured lows if we're going to look at structured highs. And ultimately, we've been in a controlled strength range for quite some time with price driving higher and higher and higher. That tells me ultimately we're likely going higher, whether people want that to happen or not. This is a bull market. That's what I would tell people, man. Like, it's not a bear market right now. This is a bull market. You got a bull div on the RSI. You've got price that continues to rise. You got every insinuation on the chart telling you higher, right? You got no volume spikes into these highs, meaning you've had no significant buy-ups that you need to sell off. That's what a lot of people don't really get. Sell-offs occur after massive moves in the market from a strength standpoint, from a volume standpoint. If you're not seeing big vol candles, you have no reason to sell off. You need big vol candles to sell off. Really big vol candles. I mean, here's a great example of it. I'll show you Workhorse, right? This one will eventually work its way out of this low, but Workhorse an exact example of that. You had the big wall spike in Workhorse, and then you had the massive sell-off. Let's see. Here we go. So right here, look at this. This is the biggest vol spike Workhorse has ever had. Now, granted, these typically mark what? They mark bottoms. They mark floors. So that being said, how's it going, Maverick? That being said, you got a big spike up, and then you've got drawdown into that spike, right? And essentially what it's done is it's created a sell-off event that will eventually be likely the bottom of this overall move and push it out later on. But the sell-off occurs after the vol spike. That's where it occurs. You need the vol spike to create the sell-off. I'm really surprised a lot of traders just, I mean, to me, I guess in my eyes, these are basic fundamentals to trading. But I see a lot of traders touting trading, talking about their P&Ls that they did on their, practice trading view P&L thing. And pretending to have these massive P&Ls, but don't understand the basics of trading. These are the basics of trading. You have volume, you have strength. Stock is more of a balance for your strength. And then you have price action, right? And that's what you need to read into. And price action is how the market reacts, how the vol spike occurs, and then where the strength level is. It's really that simple. And not only did we get the vol spike, we got the strength level rejection right on the 50. That should have told you sell off, right? I just thought at some point they were going to kind of flip it back up, but they're still kind of drawing it back down, right? And creating this sell-off event, scaring everybody who's basically bought into this buy up here or are long on this and causing them to want to sell major losses. Because this was a 5x move all in one sweep. So for me, again, the market will indicate where the top is. It'll indicate it much easier than most understand. Like when people say trading doesn't work, it's just like, it's like getting in a plane and being like, airplanes don't work. And then you ask the person, why would you say airplanes don't work? People fly on airplanes every day. And you tell them, or they tell you, because I don't understand how this thing works. So since I don't understand how it works, airplanes don't work. And I think that thesis is it's so disingenuous, right? If you're a trader and you're telling me trading doesn't work, I would be interested in having that conversation. But if you don't trade, how can you tell others trading doesn't work? That's really, an interesting conversation for me, for a lot of people. It's like, same thing with cars, right? You could be like, oh, well, cars aren't real. Cars don't actually work. Why? Because I don't understand how a car works. That thesis is just dumb. It's just dumb. You can't argue something you don't understand. The only people that can argue about whether or not cars work, really in reality, are people that use them and people that create them and fix them. The only people that can really argue about airplanes are pilots, people that fly them, right? You're not going to argue with a pilot, like, hey, that motor or that engine over there looks off a little bit. You have no clue whether that engine's off a little bit or not because you don't know how a plane works. You don't know how to fly a plane. And so I would just tell people, like, if people tell you trading doesn't work and stuff like that, that I would steer away. And gambling is not trading either, right? Like this whole trenching meta thing, like it's, I mean, you could chase volume bots all you want, but the reality is like, it's just bullshit. It's not trading. It's gambling. Trading involves technique. It involves understanding what's actually occurring in the chart. Now, it's never 100% hit rate, but I can tell you I have much better odds than most people. And that's all I need. I just need, all you need in markets is a slight edge. Not a big one. You don't need a major gap because a slight edge is much bigger than most people understand. A slight edge on normal retail, me too being included, I'm normal retail too. A slight edge against all the other retail is enough to put me to where I can be profitable. Just a slight edge. Doesn't have to be major or any of that. And that's why you have to understand kind of like the holistic picture from like what's actually occurring. So as I stated, right, no vol spikes, I call BS on double top. You got a bull flag here playing out. Could we be a little bit bearish for like a week or two? I don't even think 2 weeks, probably. I think days, maybe a week. But sure, we could be a little bearish for a little bit. Are we going below 100K? I think unlikely. I think very unlikely. I mean, we've been sitting there hovering at 108K now for days. So that's a really important understanding too, because like, what is 108K? Where does that number come from? Well, it's pretty obvious, right? It's your range highs, your body highs. You've been kind of like playing just above these, actually all the way up here, just above these wick highs, right? That's the range you've been playing into. But if the market really wants to take it there, it can run it all the way to body highs, right? Which would put you around like 103, 102. You really wouldn't want to see price go below there. You'd really relatively want to stay above this range. So for me, the market's twapping up, right? This is not a big move. Why? Because the market rebalanced it. So like your whole bearish thesis is just cooked. You've already rebalanced the FVG here. And so with rebalancing the FVG, you now have room to twop up higher. And you've been doing this for quite some time. Keep in mind, you basically shifted away from down here, right? The super bearish area. You didn't allow anybody to accumulate from here. You basically moved into here, right? A lot of people are like, okay, I'll buy it once we get through here. Then you shove through here to keep anybody from accumulating in this lower range. And then you ran price down, shoved up again, right? Got everybody super bulled up and long up here, your James Wins of the world. You pushed price back down, rebalanced the breakout candle, and then you push back up, and now you're kind of twapping the high here to really scare people before you make your next move. That's basically what's occurring right now. It's nothing really fearful when it comes to markets at the moment. Like it just, the whole fear method here is you're pulling back into potential rate cuts. Does that sound fearful? Usually what you want to see is you want to see a market move in the opposite direction of where it's going to actually move after a big event, right? I think that this FOMC coming up in September is going to be a big event. And I think that if we pulled back and SAT pulled back into FOMC, it's a slingshot, right? It's a catapult. It's basically pull the tension on the rubber band to shove it really hard to the upside. And that's really what I think is occurring here. I don't think this is as bad as most people think it is. I think this is just rebalancing. Not to mention many coins are doing fine, right? Like, I mean, some of your shit coins are wrecked, but that should be to be anticipated, right? To be anticipated. But overall, you know, market, I would say like Ethereum and other coins have been fine. Like people keep crying about Ethereum. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, bro. Like Ethereum's maintained above 4K and will likely continue to maintain above 4K. And all we've been crying about is that Ethereum couldn't break 4K prior to this. Like people, it's like cry about something and then move on to the next thing once you achieve it. It's sensational, right? It's sensational. That gift, sensational. I don't understand it, but we had a double bottom basically here on our ETH BTC, right, chart, and all we've been is very bullish on risk, very bullish on risk. Not every shit coin's gonna make it, so as long as we understand that, we'll be fine. But that's just the facts of the thing, right? We're setting well above 4K, well above 4K, 4,300. 4K is your last line in the sand. Why is 4K your last line in the sand? Because if you break 4K, you can definitely come back down pretty decently, right? You can come back down to like 3,500. You can come back down even lower if they want to, and they can take it down to 2,600. There's levels to this shit. But the point being is 4K is your breakout range. That's your breakout range. Of course, you're going to sit here and do this for a while. at the high. Of course, that is going to be the case. You're going to up and down and up and down and up and down. And we're on the monthly, by the way. And then you come into the weekly, and it's just, that GIF with that crypto holders on the roller coaster, right? They're sitting there passing out. Up, down, up, down. What do we call this? Consolidation. It's really that simple. It's just consolidation. Nothing crazy. We're consolidating up here. Again, look. Breakout, consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout. Come on. Let's relax a little bit. All right. Stop freaking out. It's not that serious. It's really not. Like, I would say, like, a lot of people just need to close their wallets in crypto and just stop looking at it every day. All right. But here, yeah, we tired. But here's the thing. We tired. I hear it in every range. I hear it in every range. It's like, how are you down? How are you down? Every range has been up. How are you down? That's what I try to ask people, man. Just like, if you can explain to me how you're down, I want to know. If you're like, oh, because I'm in shitcoins. Okay, then stop buying the pumps. Buy before they pump it. That means when they consolidate, buy that shit. When they break out, TP it. When they consolidate again, find the low and buy it. Because your shitcoin is going to go up 20x, 10x, 50x, 100x, whatever. And then guess what? When the market starts to chop sideways, your altcoin, your shitcoin is going to go back down 90, 80, 95%. We know this is going to happen every single time. Unless you're in Fusaka. That's been doing really good. All right. Fusaka's been doing really well. A lot of people just need a father. I'm being that father. I'm trying to take the training wheels off the bike and showing you how to ride the bike without the training wheels. That's it. It's really that simple. Are some things going to perform and other things not while we're consolidating? 1,000% that's going to happen. It's going to happen. Don't cry if it's not your asset. Your time will come. Markets will, rising tide. All ships will get lifted eventually. It's just a patience game right now. This is 2020 breaking the 2021. Do we understand how significant that is right now? The gains aren't even close to where they're going to be, but we keep on crying in the corner. Just relax, wait, be patient. I'm not shaving anything. I haven't shaved anything. I've repositioned some things. I've allocated elsewhere, but I'm just here just like the rest of you at the whims of the market. But I don't see any reason to not be at the whims of the market because the market looks good. It looks good. There's nothing fearful in the chart that I can see. Nothing. We're playing the range we should be. And that's it. Even Solana has looked really good. Like, if, aside from all the shit you see on my chart, we just delete all that, right? Let's just delete everything. Directionally, where has Solana been going? Up and to the right. Granted, you can point this part out, right? Because this has been a shit show. Because in reality, it's been like that for a year and 9 months for Solana. It's been high, low, high, low, high. Do we go low again? If you think so, sell your bag. If you don't, eventually, this is what we would consider a consolidation range. Eventually, what happens with a consolidation range? It continues. High, low, high, low, high, low, break. Right? We get a shift. We get a consolidation range. shift, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, shift, right? High, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, high, low, shift. At some point, it's just a patience game. That's all it is. Just hang in there. Like, I know it feels harder than what it is, but we're getting ready to get out of this. I want you all to understand something. We're getting ready to get out of this and out of this and do this. That's what we're getting ready to do. Do you want to be bidding here and here? Or do you want to be bidding here or here? And when I say here and here, I don't mean like we're coming back to there. What I mean specifically by that is that this right here, this is basically this, right? We've been consolidating, we shift away. We've been consolidating, we shift away. Higher numbers coming. Higher numbers coming. I don't know that it'll be $1,000 Solana, but I'm just trying to give, basically the viewpoint of how that looks. We're looking for that shift away right now in the market. So ETH, again, looks phenomenal. Solana looks phenomenal. Bitcoin looks great. Let's go to total. Let's talk about total, right? This is total. Every cycle. Here's first cycle. You got 37,000% gains on total. This means all buyers, right? And then over here, second cycle, you got 3,300%. All buyers. Anticipations here, I brought them down again, right? I brought them 1/3. 1/3. That's anticipation for growth. Even with 1/3 growth, that puts us at a $7 trillion market. Could I be off by a few trillion? Sure. And I mean to the upside, because I think I downsized this more than I needed to. But I'm putting this at a $7 trillion market. Where are we at right now? 3.72. That means 50% of the cycle hasn't even entered. Right? Hasn't even entered. So we still have growth potential here. Really good one, by the way. You can see right here, anytime we kind of surpass that high, we have pretty good growth potential. But we have to understand that there's always diminishing returns. So what do I do each cycle? I reduce the amount of gains each cycle to kind of give that diminishing return effect. What are diminishing returns? It means the more and more liquidity you pump in, the harder and harder it is to pump. That's what diminishing returns essentially are, for those who may or may not know. So total looks great. Now let's take a look at total 3, right? This excludes Bitcoin and Ethereum, both. We are right now at 2021 highs. But all I hear is tears. That's it. I just hear tears. Look at how clean this market has been trading. This is one of the most cleanest total 3s. Not even total 3, just the cleanest charts I've seen in a while. Total 3 looks phenomenal. Looks great. Looks like it's on the brink of a breakout. And I can tell you when total 3 breaks out, pretty decent upside. Right? The high here, the high is 1.17 trillion. The potential here could be as high as the 1618. Right? Could be. But you can see right here, 1.83. That's what we were supposed to reach in 2021. We didn't reach it. Likely, this will be the target for this cycle. So $1.83 trillion in everything except Ethereum and Bitcoin. It's not bad. It's good gains. I mean, small cats, you have really good high RR potential, and mids and even highs, you still have decently high RR potential. And likely it'll be capital rotation. It won't be everything shifts all at once. It'll just be one thing, then move on to the next, then move on to the next. It'll be like a hot ball of money shifting around. You just have to wait your turn for the hot ball of money. And if you chase the hot ball of money, you'll be part of the exit liquidity. That's what will happen. Never chase the hot ball of money. Front run it, wait for it, but don't chase it. So with that being said, 1.83 trill on this one, very likely, right? Why would I say this? What's making me think this? We have things like Link doing very well. Again, just reached the tie here. Likely it's going to continue to chat up and retest its all-time high. You got things like Cardano doing very well. You got total SPX here veering up, looking like it's on the verge of either a breakout or breakdown here. Either SPX is about to outpace Bitcoin or Bitcoin's about to extremely outpace, or sorry, total is about to extremely outpace SPX. So you see right here, this is total versus SPX. And ideally, I think there's a good potential here that this kind of follows what Bitcoin did with the breakout. And we'll see this thing break out against SPY, which means crypto should outpace SPY for at least a short time. Crypto as a whole. Sui, still looking great. We're kind of playing a pennant pattern right here. And really, ideally, we'd like to see it break to the upside, but this could shift back down before it shifts out. You can see you're kind of hovering against the 50. So you could come back down in price, retest the low, and then shift away over here somewhere. So you could see something like this. And you know me, like I'm a realist. I'm big on Sui, but I'm not gonna BS what I think is gonna happen here. I think there's potential that this could happen, and if this doesn't happen, then like you'll see this, then you'll see this, then you'll see this, and it'll just start chatting. You'll get one of these right here. So it'll be one or the other. Both of these are typical for this type of pennant pattern, right? It's just basically a pennant. If you look at it on the bigger time frame, you're coiling, you're tightening, pennant, either a breakout or a breakdown into a breakout, one of the two. But a breakout into a pennant is still a breakout, even if it comes down before it goes up. It's a breakout pattern. Kronos, hell of a trade, man. Was a hell of a trade. Called it right around here. I mean, this shit ran all the way up to like nearly 40 cents. Yeah, 38.8. Really close to 40. I think this is going to continue pushing through. You can see right here, I showed the lows before this ever occurred. Keep in mind, showed the lows right here. And we're actually breaking out against each high. You got higher high, right? Into higher high, into what is now higher high. So you have to understand bullish structure. Right, this is bullish structure is the way I would take this. So you've got really good structure that's telling you that there's a breakout incoming. You'll probably see some kind of rejection at all-time high, pull back, and then run. Something like that, relatively. SPX, no real bear indications at the moment. Yeah, I mean, I really don't have a lot of read on the RSI. RSI can likely come all the way back up to these highs, 87 strength levels. So we'll see if that ends up playing out. But not a whole lot there. And then if we look into something like Jasmy still kind of consolidating. This is a down and to the right scenario. We're kind of playing outside of what I had as a wedge. This could also be some kind of pennant. It's hard to tell right now. The biggest thing on Jasmy here, the biggest thing is that we've been breaking out of the low. We broke out here. We broke out here. Jasmy isn't even bullish yet. It's not even bullish yet. Like, honestly, I think like Jasmy gets above this 50, it like just starts gigasending. I don't know how high it will go, but you can tell that there's definitely some interest. It pulled out of the low, broke back into interest range, right? There's still interest, low interest, but still interest. And so this is typically death, this range, right? You don't want to see this range. And then from death, we come back into price interest range. So now you're getting people interested in trading it, interested in buying it. May or may not know why they're buying it, but it looks interesting to them. So, and then once you get above the 50, you start to get into bullish range. It means it's starting to get eyes, likely starting to get motion, starting to run. This thing's a runner at that point. And really, you get above the 50, you should start bidding really heavily because you can usually get a lot of upside above there. You are at risk anytime you're under the 50 because when under the 50, you could stay under there for an extended amount of time, which means, you know, you could be under the whole cycle in reality. But looking at price and the way everything's kind of building out, it doesn't look too bad. You got vol drop also involved with this, so it's pretty good. Basically vol drop to the down. And then likely you'll start getting vol spike. I'd like to see price spike with vol spike. That would be good. Tesla's kind of meh, right? It's kind of playing the high range here. Doesn't look very interesting to me. Lower high structure. Just like that. And it's a tough one. And Tesla's a tough one. You got a double bottom right here on strength. You know, do you retest that? Or do we stay above the 50? That's really kind of the question here. You also got vol drop here. That doesn't look like it's done yet, which means you could consolidate for longer. That's what that means. It doesn't mean bearish or bullish. It just means you could consolidate for longer. That's the way I would take this volume right now. Looks like you still have potential to squeeze even tighter on volume, continuing to drop volume. That could bring you here. That could bring you back down here. But likely you'll hold this range, and then eventually you'll break against that. NASDAQ. Not a lot of alpha here, man. Not a lot of alpha here. Up and to the right. Up and to the right. I mean, this looks similar to this, right? Looks similar to this. You could definitely see this thing continue to push. Let's look at on the monthly. Yeah, this could definitely push, continue pushing. Not a whole lot up here going on. You're just too high. Yeah, you're too high here to mimic this. I don't think you could redo this here because before it was a breakdown until it bounced into a breakdown, and then you chatted off that, but you broke down, you broke higher, right? And likely now you know, even if you saw downside, it's not going to be anything crazy. Retested the trend in a runner. Lucid still playing the bull div. I'm still bullish Lucid. I've talked about this many a time. You got downside price action against upside strength. Very strong indicator of price reversal. You got a big spike right here playing into that. Very, very, very bullish Lucid at the moment. I know a lot of people are going to shit on me. This could take months to play out, to be honest with you. I may be way early to this game, but I think this is definitely a winner here. I'll show you another scenario where I kind of saw the same thing, and it was right here on Bitcoin. Weekly time frame, lower time frame, right? Weekly. So you had the price drop right there, and you had the strength run right here, kind of indicating potential reversal, and that ended up being a reversal. Price moved up, consolidated higher, then moved up, and that's ended up pretty much happening from there. So overall, I think Lucid looks good. I think this bull div here is a play, something to play off of. Now, would you do calls, puts, or not puts, but would you do calls or spot? I mean, ultimately, that's up to you and how bullish you feel on the stock. I think from the standpoint that it's in, you know, it's bullish enough to even say potentially, you know, people could be looking at calls. I did take calls on this, still holding them. I got about 6 months left on those contracts. So we'll see how that plays out. But ultimately, I'm bullish on it. XRP. Man, oh man. Interesting. You're close to the 50. You're close to the 50. You're playing on my trend here. Let's see what the monthly looks like. Damn, man, this is not looking good, bro. That's almost a perfect double top right there. I'm not saying XRP is double topping, but like what I'm saying is like you could repeat this drawdown. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying you're going to fall in reverse into a bear market, but you could definitely repeat this drawdown before you end up seeing any type of upside, which means you'll come all the way back down to like, you know, $2, $2.10, something like that. That'll be a pretty big pullback if that is happening. Not looking good, bruv, but we'll see. Coinbase, another one of those that was looking pretty good. right? Now you kind of broke that down into previous consolidation range. We'll see how this plays out. You're just above the 50s, so that's good, but definitely interesting. Eesh. Yeah, that. Yeah, I'm not bullish on that trend, man. I almost want to delete this uptrend now because like it's violated it too many times to really call it valid. Interesting. KTA. Okay. And I think somebody else said something else too. Base fart, brother. We've done base fart coin. We've done it so many times. We'll take a look at it though. We'll take a look at it. KTA. Kita. Yeah, I don't know, man. I feel like we've looked at this one too. Yeah, it's too new. 100 times last month across all chains. Yeah, bro. The fart coin thing, man. Like people are so dead set on this. It's like the only thing they have to latch onto from Pump Fun anymore. Yeah, there's just no runners anymore. Everything's dead at the moment, except for Fusaka. But everything's dead over there on Solana. Hold on. Not enough info here, man. To be honest with you on KTA, like no weekly. You got some daily price action, but I mean you're playing well below the 50 on the week on the daily. So yeah, I mean Google can say whatever they want. Like the stochastics floored, so that's probably something positive. I'd say I'd wait for it to get above the 50. I don't care what Google says. I don't care what the president of the US says. I don't care what we'll say Microsoft says. Like all these guys have come out with articles in the past saying that they support something and it still nukes to zero. So ultimately you can't take what they say and read into it too much. A lot of them are just like BSing or like paid. I've even seen it where Yahoo Finance will do like paid articles, right? That's another one too, which is interesting. So it's I don't know, man. Chart doesn't RSI doesn't look good. Stochastic is floored. I do like a floored stochastic. I'll give you that. I love a floored stochastic, but you could stay elevated or de-elevated for quite some time. But yeah, price doesn't really meet with what's here. And it's too young. Look at this. I'm on the weekly. I'm like all the way up here. This is way too young to really like speculate on. I mean, they can break world records, but have they got anybody interested in using their chain? Like the point, I guess the point that I want to put out there is like they could be the fastest TPS period out there, right? They could be the fastest TPS out there. But is anybody using it? What does their chain look like when it's under pressure with hundreds of millions of transactions going at once? Does it still meet that same speed? That's the thing that people got to understand. Like these things are all narratives that have not been proven until under pressure, right? You need people to be operating on those chains and creating pressure on them. So, I mean, they could say they put pressure, but I'm talking about users. There's no users on KTA. There's next to none. Well, why do you think that is? Why do you think nobody's adopting? Here, we'll Google it. While your query is very brief, KTA users are low. Could refer to low usage of KETA, a new cryptocurrency and blockchain platform. declining trading volume, reports from last August, market sentiment, token underperformed the broader cryptocurrency. Here, I'll pull this up on stream. Token underperformed the broader cryptocurrency market as of August 2025. I'm not fudding. I'm just, I guess some people consider it fudding. You if you know me, you understand, right? Like I just try to, I try to keep things holistic, right? Even technicals, weakness, bearish. I mean, again, this reads in the technicals I just read too on the chart right in front of you. Bearish technical indicators such as negative MACD histogram, neutral to oversold RSI conditions, suggesting the traders are taking profits and the momentum is weakening. So again, this reads right in the technicals I was just showing you with the RSI. I didn't use the MACD, but I just used the strength indicator and showed you, hey, below the 50. You know, obviously below the 50, we talk about it all the time. It's usually not a good place to be looking to bid at the moment. Usually you want to wait till you get at least above the 50, because that's going to give you some kind of comfort in the buy. Recent mainnet launch, Kita Network mainnet was launched 2025. Because it is a relatively new platform, it may takes time to attract a larger and more stable user base. Now, here's the thing: you could DCA this thing if you want. They can put out whatever information they want, you know, and they could be, again, they could be. I'm not refuting that they're fast. They could be the fastest blockchain out there, but you need builders and you need users. And if you don't attract those two, doesn't matter if you're the fastest. No, because money's not going to come your way without those two. Do you see what I'm saying, Flo? I hope I'm not being rude. Like I'm trying to help you kind of understand, right? Like, because if we're looking at it from an investment standpoint, we just have to be we have to be realistic with our investments. And the best way to be realistic is to look at things from a realistic standpoint and what we see going on. The only thing I could see going on is that there's a narrative being driven that KTA is the fastest blockchain, broke a world record, right? But without any users, you can't technically say you broke any records. If you had as many users as Solana, and you broke a record, damn, you probably are the fastest blockchain. But if you have no users, it's not hard to ramp up a blockchain and say, hey, we are the fastest, because nobody's using it. There's no congestion, right? We have to understand congestion. Congestion occurs when there's a lot of transactions going on at once. That's how it occurs. So that's what I mean by like applying pressure, right? Applying pressure is everybody, all the users from different parts of the world, different internet speeds, all applying pressure on the blockchain, all using the blockchain. Proven and true, Ethereum, Solana, those are proven and true. I think even Sui has done phenomenal this cycle. That's another one that was doing as much TPS as Solana at one point. They were doing as much transactions as Solana at one point, which means adoption. It means that people are interested in the blockchain. It means people are building there. It means users are using it. They're not doing as much now, but likely it does show some hope that Sui could be an up and coming. Whereas like something like KTA is just a little new. So I would just be cautious about reading into it right now. And what I would do likely with this downtrending chart is I would let it kind of settle, right? So if it starts settling here, maybe it's something you could come back and look at, right? If it continues to drop here, it was probably a good thing you waited for the settle. Because right now, the only thing you have going on the chart is you had a strong uptrend into what is now a strong downtrend. Not only do you have a strong downtrend, these three moves engulfed this entire move. You are coming down pretty hard. So to buy into this right now, I think is a little risky. That's kind of what I'm saying. I hope that comes across the right way. Again, not speaking against what you said. What I'm speaking is what I see here. And I'm trying to explain it the best way I can. you can't create users. You can apply pressure through like stress tests, right? You can stress test computers, but you can't create 100 million users from different locations around the world and apply that on a blockchain. You can do a theoretical test, right? Theoretical tests are possible, but you can't do what I'm saying. It's not possible. You need users. Like they, again, a theoretical is a theoretical, but typically they don't even tell you if that's the case. I've worked at Google before. I'm sure Google's not working directly with KTA. I could probably even talk to somebody over there and ask them directly. I have contacts. I don't think they work with any crypto. They're using their cloud. That's what they're doing. Sorry, I'm just reading through this real quick. It's a Google, oh, brother. All right, hear me out. I've seen this many times. All right. It's a Google Cloud. It's not like a real partnership or anything like that. It's a Google Cloud partnership. There are a ton of projects in the space that have Google Cloud partnerships with Google. A metric ton. Now, if they're using their blockchain for something, then that would be interesting. But from what it says is that KTA is using Google's cloud, not the other way around. Yeah, I'll look into it. I was just kind of explaining. So I can go like this. Look, how many crypto projects have Google Cloud? Look. Right here. Direct partnerships. AI is amazing, by the way. BNB, Casper, Celo, Chainlink, Coinbase, Kronos, Hedera, Near, Polygon, Solana, Tezos, Multiverse X. That's your direct partners right here. And what are they partners with? Google Cloud Services. I would say look into Google Cloud partnerships. It's not beyond that. I just looked it up. It's literally, that's what it says. It says Google Cloud Services. Right here. Look. KTA, which uses Google Cloud Service technology. However, KTA can also refer to other entities with no connection to Google, such as the Kansas Turnpike Authority. Google Cloud and the blockchain network with KTA made announcements detailing with their collaboration. Google Cloud, right here. This is not Google. This is Google Cloud. This is a service that Google offers to anybody who wants to use it. So this can be very confusing to a lot of people to understand. Right? I'm just trying to help you understand. This is a Google Cloud service. Google Cloud blog, a post on the official Google Cloud blog explained how the Kita network uses Spanner, Google Cloud's database, to achieve a high volume transactions per second TPS. So they're test netting on Google Cloud. That's what they're doing. Stress test right here, right? So remember what I said? You can run a stress test, but you can't replicate what actual wallets look like in transactions from around the world. The blog highlighted that Kita completed a public verified stress test on its network, hitting over 11 million transactions per second. Right there. I'm reading this right in front of you. Former Google CEO, the project gained significant attention after former Google CEO Eric Schmidt began following the Kita network on social media. He's also an advisor and backer for the company. So he's an advisor and backer. Of course, he's following them. Now, this is a CEO. How many CEOs does Google have? I'll wait for that. No, Eric Schmidt is not the CEO. Here you go. Who's the CEO? It's Sundar Pichai. Maybe I butchered his name a little bit. He also serves as CEO of Google's parent company, Alphabet Inc. Before Pichai, Google had two others. Before him, they had two others. Eric Schmidt and Larry Page. Not one, they had two. Yes, he was, exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So when Eric Schmidt was CEO, you also had Larry Page. So there were two CEOs during that time. So he's technically an ex-CEO, right? Because the current CEO is Sundar Pichai. That's the CEO. So it's not the CEO of Google. This is actually a misstatement on this conversation. Or, well, no, it's not. It says former. Okay. So yeah, it does read that. So again, it's just, he doesn't even work at Google, essentially, right? Former CEO. And this is pretty much what you're saying for KTA. But all I'm saying is, like, don't get caught up in this whole cloud thing. Right here, look. Casper Labs provides infrastructure for Casper Labs, professional service team, enabling deploy, manage, customize. Google Cloud collaborates with Silo Foundation. Collaborates with Silo. Right here. Partnership enhances data integration. Significant partnership announced in 2022, where Google chose Coinbase as its cloud payments partner. Now, what I would tell you is look at Silo price, look at Casper price. BNB has done good. That's a good one. Coinbase has done well. That's a good one. Kronos, look at Kronos price. Hedera price. Near price. Polygon's price for sure. Solana's price, done well. Tezos price, meh. And Multiverse X price, meh. Right? Like, out of all of these partners, all of these different chains that they've worked with directly, only a few of these have actually succeeded to do well. Only a few. And what I mean by that is, like, I guess if you're looking at like a long-term investment, like, what I would tell you is, like, okay, if you're super bulled up on it and you want to be all in on it, this isn't the part of the cycle where you do that, right? Where you would want to do it is you'd want to do it in the bear, because our opportunity is just better, right? Because what's going to happen, you're going to see a lot of liquidity pull out, and you'll see a lot of liquidity kind of shift away from this market overall across the board. I don't give a shit if it's BNB. I don't care if it's some kind of specific coin or Ethereum or Bitcoin, all this stuff right here, if you're interested in this project, and I did this from last cycle, right? I did this from last cycle and it played off pretty well. I held off from buying a lot of stuff last cycle in 2021 that I wanted to buy that I thought would hold up through the bear. And when it got slaughtered, I bought back in. I bought those things. And they did really well this cycle. They done really, really well. I mean, I didn't get in at $8 Solana, but I got in at $30 Solana. That was a good trade. Really good trade. And that was only because I was still bearish on Solana overall. But once we flipped 30, it was very obvious to me that it was going to continue to push up. I mean, if you think KTA is going to do well, then I mean, just buy it. I'm just telling you, like, the chart doesn't look good, and that's not me hating. That's just the reality of things, and it's too new. It's just too new. You ran up, you dropped, you ran up, you dropped. Now maybe you hold a trend, but there's really no trend to hold here. Maybe that. Right, we'll leave that up there. We'll see if it's able to hold that trend. But RSI doesn't look good. Sorry, I spent a lot of time on this, but I'm trying to give my understanding and trying to explain it. Like, I don't think like everybody else does. I don't read articles and think something's bullish. I read charts and it tells me whether or not it's bullish. Right, that's it. So, like, if the chart isn't telling me this looks good, then it's not good to me. Even if there's every bullish catalyst in the world, I can't take it and go with that because the chart has to show me the way. That's where the true interest in money flow is. I mean, look at Nike right here. I caught this to almost to a T on the breakout because I was playing off of these lows. Again, this is just charting 101, right? You have to go off what you can see, not what you hear. A lot of the time, people will tote up, we'll say projects, we'll say stocks, we'll say even the stock market, they did a shit. It's nothing new to me, right? I see it all the time in the stock market. They'll tote things up and then they'll use you as exit liquidity and dump on you. And that's basically how these things run. Narratives are not as strong as people think they are. They're really not. Maybe KTA ends up being a front runner. Maybe I end up kind of being LOL'd at for a while or whatever. But like, without any type of indication in the chart, I can't bid something like that. Even if there's a bigger picture thought process behind it, I have to have some kind of verification. And the only verification you have in markets, the only verification you have in markets is your chart. That's it. Everything else is just, it's all fluff and bullshit and everything else. What do you mean forget about that? I'm not going to forget about the chart, bro. No. Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing, Brandon. Because the current chart doesn't look good doesn't mean it can't look good later. Right? Am I right or wrong? If a chart doesn't look good right now, does it mean it can't look good later? Think about that. Right? That's the way you have to look at it. It doesn't mean I can't be wrong later. It doesn't mean the chart can't show me that I'm wrong later. Right? But what I'm saying in the moment, what I'm seeing right now, at this moment, when we just looked at it, chart doesn't look good. But it doesn't mean like 2 weeks, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months down the road, that can't change. Because that can 100% change. Maybe it sits there in ranges and then starts to break above the 50 on the RSI at some point, right? Then I can kind of be like, okay, this is starting to look good. I like it. Chart looks good. Now maybe that narrative kind of plays into the chart. But until I see that, I can't say that, right? Narrative-driven conversation it's hard to explain to a lot of people. But I can tell you, when I first got into investing, that's what wrecked me a lot of the time. The thing that wrecked me the most was playing off narratives. The thing that really helped me and probably paid me the most is playing off what I see in the chart. And charts can always change. They could change from bearish to bullish and bullish to bearish, or they could stay eternally bearish or eternally bullish, right? SPX being eternally bullish. Something like Beyond Meat's eternally bearish until it's not, right? It's always that conversation until it's not. But like here, I'll show you this one, for instance. Like this is one I said, a long time ago looked like hell, and that's all it's been. It was, I think, I thought I had the ticker, but maybe I don't. I think I took it off because I got tired of looking at it. Let me see. BYND. There you go. BYND. I'll show you what I'm talking about here. Right here. You can see every bear move I'm calling for on this chart, and it just never stopped going down. To me, this thing's like eternally bearish. It's like, okay, does this company go into chapter 11 or does it ever turn around? And you can see right here, once it started falling, it just never stopped falling, and it continued to hold the low here forever, for eternity. And so if I had not played the chart on this, I would have been expecting some kind of reversal right around here. And if that would have happened, I would have been completely destroyed on this trade. Being meat. I mean, we all knew how this one was going to turn out. But the point being is that this is why I stick to charts more than narratives. I'm not saying that you're right or wrong. I'm not saying that anything or refuting anything that you said, by the way. I'm just trying to explain the thesis why I go off of charting over narratives. That's all. No, the chart shapes the narrative. Completely wrong. Completely wrong. Charts will front run narratives every day of the week. Every day of the week. I can't even tell you how many times I've taken a short on the chart and then a war pops off, right? Or I've taken a long on a chart, and then all of a sudden, some kind of, we're merging with blah blah blah, or we're doing a stock split. It's the chart definitely front runs narratives. Like, narratives help people believe price, but I can tell you more often, we'll say this, right? More often than not, charts will lead narratives. You want me to tell you why? I can give you a realistic answer why. I'll give you a realistic answer, okay? Not some BS out of my hat. A realistic reason why is because you have insiders in every company. You have insiders in every single crypto project. What do you think they're going to do if they know something bullish is coming? What will they do? They'll typically start front loading the chart before anything's ever announced, before anybody ever finds out about the narrative. They will start front loading the chart. And there's actually some tools out there that you can use, by the way, that can tell you, like, when CEOs of companies are buying, when board members are buying, when Google or another firm is buying a stock. And these things can actually help you kind of know that, something might be coming from a narrative driven standpoint, right? The reason that charts lead narratives is because of insiders. That specifically. And I think that's a really fair answer to what I was stating. And if you think not, feel free to tell me, but I think that's a really logical, fair answer. And typically they'll push charts from insiding, by the way. They'll push charts into a territory where they'll actually start to turn around from bearish to bullish. Just from insider buys. They're usually that significant. Again, just, like bull divs, stuff like that, all that is indication of insider buying. That's typically what it is. Or somebody knows something that you don't know. It's front loading. Yeah, I mean, to a degree, there's a lot of volume chasing bots to those, right? And CT stuff never lasts. So if big accounts start tweeting something, it's usually because they're in so big that you might get a 2 or 3x off it, and then they're going to dump it on your face. So it's very hard to go off of that one. I would say like most of these things need natural growth. They need natural interest, natural buyers, right? Natural buyers actually bring charts to ridiculous heights versus like hype buys. Hype buys are just big pumps and the big dumps. That's all they are. And nobody ever sells because nobody knows where the top is. Only the people that are bought in big usually know where the top is. So it's very difficult to say that that's going to necessarily drive these guys. But if we see chart move, could be a good indication of insider buying, right? I've even caught some shit before anybody even tweeted on it because you can see front loading well ahead of time. You can always see front loading. It's not hard. You just got to really pay attention. And your strength indicator is really big on that. Those are leading indicators, not lagging indicators. Strength indicators lead charts, not lag against them. Yeah, well, that's what I was stating. Is that exactly to your point, Flo? Exactly to your point. If the chart can change, right? The chart, and we're having this discussion because I think it's a good discussion to have with people. But the chart can change. 100% it can change. So to what you were saying, like if we're looking at the coin we were just looking at, KTA, right? This chart and this RSI can change 100%. Like let's say we look at it for like this and we say that's your support range, right? Right there. Right there. So we say that's your support range. You've hit it 1, 2, 3 times, and you start to do this, and then you 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 do this. Well, then at that point, you're building to the upside and you're above the 50, right? And now your chart has changed. Now you've went from extremely bearish to starting to get pretty bullish, right? And it doesn't really matter if price is doing, it would be nice to have price moving up, but it doesn't matter if price is doing this. Doesn't matter if price is doing this. Again, if you have price dropping, it's actually more bullish if your strength is rising against your price drop. That would actually be good. I would like that. I would like price drop against strength rise. I would like strength rise against sideways. I'd like strength rise against price breakout. Any of these scenarios would be a bullish scenario, but you need strength to indicate buying pressure, right? This will indicate buying pressure, and then you need stochastic to follow. Stochastic's bottom. Like I said, that's a pro. You need stochastic to follow, strength, and if they're kind of following each other, then you're in a good spot at that point. And then at that point, yes, your narrative changes, right? Your narrative changes 100%. So I don't want you to think like I'm just being flat out bearish. What I'm doing is I'm being calculated, right? Calculated is different from bearish. Calculated means that I'm looking for opportunity, and if I see it, I'll take it. If I don't see it, I'll wait. I'll wait. Doesn't mean I won't buy. It means I'll wait. Because if you're trying not to wait, you can end up getting wrecked on these type of things. So money is time, time is money, right? And so what that should tell you is, do you want to set in this for 6 months to a year and wait for it to consolidate because you heard something bullish? Or do you want to wait until the time is right, take other plays, make more money, and then take that more money and put it back into this when it starts to become bullish? That's how you evaluate risk to reward, right? Risk to reward is evaluated through being able to compound and then see when opportunity is ideal and taking advantage of the opportunity when it's ideal, not taking advantage of the opportunity before it's ideal. Because if you take advantage of it before it's ideal, you don't know when it's going to ever become ideal. It could become ideal a year from now. It could become an ideal 3 years from now. It could become ideal for 2 years from now. It could become ideal 6 months from now. It could never become ideal. And maybe these things never come to fruition that we thought were going to happen due to this narrative that we heard. I hope this really helps. I did go a bit over time to what I wanted to today, but I wanted to really kind of break down how I think about things. I'm not saying everybody has to think about them that way. Everybody should think about things in their own way. So I just wanted to kind of give you guys a different perspective. For those who do take narratives as a strong indication, always look at it from both sides, right? There's always both sides there. But the reason I stick to charts over narratives is because I've been burned more on narratives than I have on charts. So you have to take what works best for you. If narratives have worked out for you and that's been the play, I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. I'm just telling you why I don't trade that way. If that makes sense. But we're going to kind of cut it here. I hope everybody enjoyed the stream today. It's a little bit lengthy on the conversation with KTA, so my apologies on that. I'm not telling people not to buy KTA. I'm just telling you, like, from a chart perspective, it needs time to consolidate and figure out what it is to do here. And that's what this is all about, right? This whole TA discussion is just about looking at things, evaluating them, and then kind of giving you my opinion, my outlook. But I hope everybody appreciates the time that I put in today. And we'll definitely be seeing you later on this week. Probably Monday, Tuesday, we'll see. And we'll be chatting again then. But until then, I hope you'll have a great weekend, a great holiday. If you're in the U.S., you know, you obviously get Monday off, so that's awesome. Possibly, maybe not everybody. Maybe outside the U.S., you're taking that day to yourself. Definitely have a good one. You know, go outside, barbecue, hang out, breathe some fresh air. Everybody have a great weekend, and I'll see you on the next one.